Hi guys, my name's Adele Onyango and welcome to another episode of Legally Clueless. No, seriously, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. What's up? I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. I am much better now, but 2 days ago, I was a mess. So just a quick catch up for those of you who are not in Nairobi or Kenya and don't know, there was a report of one case of corona in Nairobi. And then what followed is our government suspending all public gatherings and events, blah, 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 blah. So this message came out at about mid-morning on Friday the 13th. Oh my God, yes, we should have seen it coming. Such a cursed day. So Friday the 13th, I get up and I'm chilling. I didn't have much of a heavy day that evening. I was meant to be co-emceeing a gig in the night. And so all I needed to do was look for an outfit. Yes, I left it until last minute. Look for an outfit and then go for rehearsals. Like we were going to have a dry run at about 4 p.m. and then the event was going to start at 7. So I checked my social media. This is the one day I was not being a millennial. I wasn't like interacting with Twitter until about 11. So then I go on social media and I see all of this chaos and pandemonium, people panicking. The first thing I do is I call one of the people working at the company whose gig I was going to be co-emceeing. And I'm like, have you seen the press conference? There is a suspension on public gatherings, blah, blah, blah. So you may want to look into that. You may need to postpone your gig. You know, at the beginning, everybody doesn't know what to do. As much as we've been talking about Corona for such a long time, really, we should have been better prepared. But in your head, you're like, I don't think it's going to get to us. I don't think it's going to get to us. And then it does. So I start slight panicking at this point because the gig is not going to be cancelled. It's in a closed space, like a closed hall, and it's going to be 400 people there. So I'm doing the math and I'm just like, listen, this could actually end really badly. I should pull out of this gig. But at the same time, I don't want to leave my friend high and dry. She's also going through like extreme emotions about it because she poured her heart and soul into making that gig come to fruition. So I'm just like saying, okay, everybody I was talking to, I was like, let's give it 1 hour and see what happens. Let's give it another hour and see what happens. And then midway through panicking, I remember, shit, I have the Legally Clueless storytelling party on Wednesday. That needs to be postponed as well. I literally moved from the living room because I was with my husband in the living room. But I felt like my mind was, I don't even know how to explain it. But if you've had a panic attack, you'll understand. Like it's almost like your mind is on fire. So I go to the bedroom to sit alone. And while I'm sitting alone, I'm like, if I pull out of this gig tonight, I'm letting everyone down. I'm letting my friend down. So I have to go for this gig. But also, I don't know, is it safe for me to go for this gig? Then I'm thinking, if people are panic shopping for food and stuff like that, I also need to be doing that. Is my house properly stocked? Then I moved to the Legally Clueless party. I'm like, crap, I'm letting everybody down. I thought about the venue and I'm like, what am I saying? Am I saying that I don't believe in their ability to keep us safe? Imagine my overthinking reached there. So I panic about the venue because I really love the Lava Latte team and they're just so supportive. One of the owners, performed at my open mic gig 10 years ago. He's shared a story on this podcast. Like he's a good friend. And I'm just like, oh my God, I have to make that call. And I don't want, they're a business, right? So they're getting hit harder. So I've now taken on that worry from them. Then I start worrying about the storytellers who are going to be sharing their stories. And we've been having like talks back and forth and everybody was so excited. And I'm like, now I have to call them and tell them that this is not going to happen. I'm letting them down. And then I thought about you who was preparing to come. Like, do you know how crazy it was? There was a comment on my social media pages, like when I put up the poster that this gig is happening, blah, blah, blah. And one of the comments was these two chicks talking to each other. And one was like, oh, I'm going to be traveling from Eldoret. I can't wait. I'm coming through Eldoret. For those who don't know, it's like, 5-6 hours out of Nairobi. And I immediately thought of her and I'm like, oh my God, this woman was willing to go to this extent for this gig, and now I have to postpone it. So I have a full-fledged panic attack. While I'm having this attack, the sound guy for the gig is calling me like, hey, you need to get to the venue. I'm freaking out, pouring my hand sanitizer into like mini bottles that I can carry in different bags. And so on my way to the gig, I'm driving. I can't breathe. Even when I was leaving the house, my husband is like, okay, do you want me to come with you? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you can't come because then we're both going to be exposed. Oh my God. And I'm like, you have to stay in the house. Get in the car and start driving. I'm unable to breathe. I'm crying. Like, it just becomes so overwhelming. And I think it wasn't even about this damn disease, because if you think about it, if we all do our part, honestly, in like hygiene and reporting ourselves when we feel sick, blah, 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 we can really help the next person. So it wasn't the disease that brought it on. I think it's because I really worked hard on the Legally Clueless party. And I just felt so overwhelmingly that I was letting you down. But it's the adult thing to do. It's the responsible thing to do. So I've had to postpone the Legally Clueless storytelling party. The new dates, I don't know the new dates as of right now, because, the government directive is that all public gatherings and events, blah, 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 have been suspended for 30 days. And I understand why they had to do that. I don't even feel like it's unfair or whatever. It has to be done. Because if you look at other countries that took a long time to do that, they're suffering the effects of that. So I get it. So I don't have a new date just yet. We're kind of like writing it out. I guess it's a good thing that I work from home, because that means what will not be interrupted is your weekly episodes of Legally Clueless. But yeah, I really did have a lot of Friday was just hectic. And then I think what also made it worse is that I'm in all of these WhatsApp groups where people are just sharing nonsensical fake news, panic, and all of this. And I wish we could all just critically analyze the information we receive on our phones before we pass it on or before we post it anywhere. And so what I did is I've left some of those groups. I'm just really trying to protect my peace. I'm not trying to ignore what's happening. I know what's happening, and I have my sources of information that I trust, that I go to get that. But I have to protect my peace. And I think that's something that you have to do as well. The panic can get so overwhelming. Yeah, I'm just in a space where I'm protecting my peace. I even went out of town. I went to Lake Magadi. I literally have just come back to kickstart my writing, because I have a writing project that's due in a month. And I was having the worst writer's block. I will tell you more about that project once I am allowed to, but it's really beautiful. If we do it right, it could be really impactful. And it's me getting back to writing. So I'm so happy about that. But yeah, I went out of town just to like breathe, give myself time to reconnect, because Friday was just crazy. Anyway, wherever you are, I hope at the very least you're protecting your peace. So I have to get into the 100 African stories right now, because it's pretty long, but it's very impactful. I have known this storyteller for a while, actually, but I did not know many challenges that he's overcome. We would occasionally talk about grief, and I knew that he lost his mom and I lost my mom. So sometimes on Instagram, if I post something down, he will send me something to cheer me up. One of the things he recently sent me was a written note that his late mom had written to him. But I'd never asked, how did she die? I had never gotten the forum to ask him these questions. Then I invited him to be a storyteller on this episode. And one of the things that broke my heart finding out is that he found out that his mom had died when he was going through a newspaper and he saw a face in the obituaries.
100 African stories.
There is no proper life that you live in university as a musician.
If I constantly just walked around feeling sorry for myself, I'm never going to get anything done.
There was a bit of frustration in between all of that.
I've been breaking my back for this company.
Therapy is not for the weak or for the crazy.
Stories from Africa.
Hi, my name is Edwin Wainaina. I mostly go by Ed Wainaina nowadays. And I'm an illustrator, a Kenyan illustrator. I'm going to kick it back. I'm going to take us back all the way to when I was 7 years old. That's what, 2000s, let's say that. I'm a Kayangi. Kitambo, we used to live in Donholm. And it was me, my big brother, and my mom and dad. We were 4. Life was okay. We used to go about our daily activities and everything. And one day, we just found, it was a Sunday, I remember. I was with my brother. And we found our mom crying on the stairs on a Sunday. It was just like, what the hell, mom, what's up? Yeah. So she was crying and crying. Then after that, after like 30 minutes of seeing your mom cry, and that's something you never want to see. So my dad pulls up and he comes through, walks up, and they start arguing with my mom. So me and my bro were there trying to defend our mom, like, stop fighting. What are you doing? What's happening? So I remember this, and I have a really good photographic memory, so I can remember things from when I was 5. So my mom was held by my dad, and she was thrown off the stairs. And I can still remember until today. That's why even when I climb stairs, I'm usually an overthinker, so I can like go back and come back. So that time we were just there. We're like, Dad, we hate you. Why are you doing this to mom? So my dad just packed up and left. So he didn't appear. He didn't come for like 3 weeks. He disappeared. We didn't know where he was. And my mom, after like 2 days, even her, she disappeared. Like I think she went to Hosi, as we thought she had gone to Hosi. So we were just left with a house help in the house. And that time we still had school. I remember I was in class 1. My bro was 3 years above me. He was in class 4 years. We're wondering, we're coming home. There's no one. And it's only a house help. And she's there like, hi. Thank God for her. I don't know. She was sent by God. I don't know. She, like, even when our parents were not there, she still stayed, Our mom, I think, went to OC because of her back. Then after that, she went to Buruburu. That's where now my shosho used to stay. So she went to live with my shosho for the time being. So still, we don't know what's happening. My bro and I are still oblivious. We're like, okay, now what's happening? Yeah. Hiya, after 1 week, let me tell you, guys, if you've seen Auctioneers, so let's tell people, plan your rents. Don't enjoyment to your danganya ti rent aitashika. Let me tell you, it was a Saturday. Auctioneers came, people in lab coats. They were looking like nini butchermen. Yeah, so we're like, hiya, kwani tumeletewa nyama? They're coming to take everything. Yeah. So they took the couch, they took the fridge, they took the TV, they basically took everything and left us. Angalau, at least they had pity. They left us with a mattress. So I remember me and my bro, I even remind my bro that story today. He denies it. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, Kim, you know where we've come from. So it was me, my Hausi, and my big bro sleeping there. Imagine, after they took the curtains, surely. So imagine you would shout and you can just hear your voice. Hello. That's when I knew Auctioneers. When I was like, okay. So after some time, after like 2-3 days, I got sick. My mom was called, but she couldn't come, because of her back. So weird enough, my dad came back. He's like, hiya, I've heard you're sick. Okay, one thing I knew about my dad, he loved me and my big bro. But he was that type of father. Hey, man, Kwanzaa. Our fathers with that thing of saying, I love you. It's like, the day you hear it, I think you'll even hold a party. But I think they show it through financial means. So he's like, let me take you to the hospital. Then he also told my big bro, come. I'm telling you, I think that's the last time we saw that place in Donholm. We were taken from Donholm, and we found ourselves, first we went to the chemist. A far chemist was like, in my head, I was like, see, chemist is just here, Dad. Then, we also ask him, Dad, what's happening? The house, people came. He's like, I'll tell you everything. Now that suspense. My big bro is also trying to understand, but him is also just, thank God for my big bro. He was holding me because I was coughing so badly. We went to a new house in Kileleshwa. I'll tell you those storybooks when people rise from the ashes, rise of the phoenix. So we're in a new apartment, and I'm like, Dad, where are we? In comes this lady, who is my stepmom today, until today. Walks in, and I'm like, who's this? And my dad he's until today learning his characteristics. He's not someone to speak out. That's something I also started catching from him. You don't say it with your chest. Like, so I'm like, who's this? He's like, you just stay here, take your medicine. I remember the last meal in that house for being auctioneer was ugali. So we come to this new house and rice is there, the beef, chickens, curtains, the curtains, fam. So obviously, us as kids, we were manipulated in such a way that we were told we'd be staying there. And obviously, there was our room. Me and Kim, my big brother, Kim, he's called George. But I call him Kim. We had our own room now. And games were there. And, it kind of felt like a Home Alone scene, Yeah. And so we were going to a new school. So we went to Consolata. So from there, I think we were even, it was so sad. Like, we even started trying, kidogo forgetting our mom. Because also our mom was not there, and it was in that sense where, let me speak on it in I'm taking you back. I won't talk like now I understand things. So there's a time now we're in Consolata. Now this is the next year. So I'm in class 2. My bro is in class 5. I remember there was a time our mom came to the gate. Like my dad did all things to try and not make my mom see us. And it was quite sad. Well, it was very sad. And there's a time my mom came to the gate and she was told by the askari that you can't enter because we've been given, those regulations that we don't know you, this is not, that's why, like my dad was really conniving. It's not something until today it's hard to forget. So we were in school, and my mom, one thing I love about my mom is that she's so perseverant and she's a go-getter. She'd fight to see to what, and then you should fight for what she wants. So when we went Consolata, there was a time now we see our mom in school. We're running to our mom. Now my friends in school are like, why are you running to your mom like that? I mean, don't you see her at home? It's those questions in school. Us kids at the age from class 1 to 5, we ask questions and we expect answers. So me, I'm being asked, and that's where now I started having that key shut-in feeling, It started building from there. I wouldn't tell people what's happening at home because you also don't want to look like that kid that has problems at home, so people feel sorry for you. You just want to be a normal kid. So we're seeing our mom there, and my bro and I were reconnecting. We cried there in school. People are wondering how strong of a family are these ones that even the mom's coming to school to give them lunch to the school lunch, or you can pack. But they didn't know what was behind the curtains. Time went by. Me and my bro, we started doing this thing where we never used to tell our parents what's happening. My mom used to come every week on Wednesdays. And there had to be that person who just tells our parents during Parents' Day, oh, there's someone who's coming to visit. Is this your aunt? Someone like they've been really, the grades are improving. They really seem happy. And okay, my dad's like, who? See, now, they were told. Let me tell you, she was told she can't enter the school. They even, they put a picture of her there. That was some psycho shit. You season 7. Yeah, so the next year now, going to class 3, my bro, class 6. I remember my bro was shipped off to UK. And, during that time, my bro's like, yeah, I'm going to UK, yeah, high life, Kumbe, in the backstory, my dad, BTS says that my dad doesn't want my mom to see my bro. And now I was shipped off to Mount Kenya. In the name of Mount Kenya, guys, ako Nyeri, guys. Nyeri. Now that time I started seeing I hope my stepmom will listen to this. But you know what? There's a time we'll have this talk with her also. She started showing her true colors, because I'm not her child. So I started learning these people-pleasing techniques, I was never good enough. And thank God my source of release was art. So I used to draw a lot. I used to draw what's happening in my life, what I want in the future. And I would take it to my parents. My dad would okay, what is this? Okay, cool. My stepmom would be like, Yeah. So you end up doing more. And at such a young age, you're like, I kind of started feeling like I was on adult mode. So now I was told, you have to go to Mount Kenya because of your weight. Imagine. I was like, what? So, Mount Kenya now, this is class 6. My bro is in UK life, and we never used to speak a lot because now, that time there were no phones. The mode of communication, I think, you remember Hotmail? Yeah, but MSN, those things. Yeah. And those were the times I would get, and Kwanzaa I didn't have his email. So it was really, the only times now I would see him was during summer holidays and my Christmas holidays. So now my mom, she decided she'll be coming to Nyeri, all the way from Buru. Now remember, she's staying now with my shosho, her mom in Buru. So she used to to come all the way to Nyeri, imagine, to see me. Like, and that's a beautiful thing. Like, also, like, when you're in boarding, you used to get phone calls from your parents. So my parents never used to call me that much. It's like I felt like boarding school. Actually, if there was something I'd also remove in schools, it's boarding schools. I feel like that's like a zoo. Throw them, come after them when you miss them kidogo. So that's when now I started developing this shutting in thing. Like I was like, I don't want to be people's problems. Let me just keep to myself, draw. So my mom used to come, and those were the times, my highlights of my life. Because what I used to love about my mom so much was she used to appreciate my art more than my education. So I would bring for her like two things. One on my right hand is the report card, and two is my art stuff, like a bunch of papers. You know, she'd start with, she'd look at the report card, Araka, she'd like, okay, you're doing well. And yeah, this just do, surely, you don't like Kiswahili. Hujui kuongea vile ulikuwa unaongea Kiswahili every day. Now, you know, like she jokes with me. Art now that's where she used to be like, hey, why did you draw this? What does this mean? And you know, she used to like, she'd even give me an assignment like, the next time I'm coming, I want to see, you know. So I used to look forward to her visitings. Then what happened? It started becoming a bit open. Like I would I would tell my close friends like what's happening, and then they'd also give me advice. So I also started, my mom was like, I want to also see your friends, you know, you don't show me your friends. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I have friends. And okay, so I started telling my friends what's happening. And it was actually, I started learning from there to open up. As in, like, if you tell people, they also have their own stories. So that's how you end up becoming, you click, right? Class 7 now, that's when it became like the darkest year of my life. During the start of class 7, my dad found out again. My dad told his head and deputy teacher that there's this lady coming to visit Edwin. Thank God the deputy teacher already knew. Like I had told her, coming clean. And also she was told by one, like my CRE teacher. She was like, okay, yeah, she confided in my dad, like, yeah, she would be seeing him, but like Chinyamaji, I used to go see her. Because now, in boarding school, when they used to come visit you, you could go out. You'd go to places like Outspan, Green Hills. So you just go and enjoy your life. Then after that, come back and you just feel renewed to even do stuff. So my mom used to come like frequently, like let's say after 2 weeks she's coming. So as the year was progressing, like to August was holidays, September, October, November, that time, yes. She started coming less. She started coming like... and also, I never used to see it, but my shosho, until today, was like, and she used to be sick. Like, she was also kind of like me, like keeping stuff to herself. Like, sometimes it's really good to share, because people can help you. Like Hash was also that person, no, I got this, I can help myself. So started coming like September she would come once, and the term was closing. She only came once actually in third term, and I was like, hey, maybe something's wrong. I'm a jobo, I'm a school, because she was also when I was in school, she was in school. Mm-hmm. So she also used to motivate me. Like she used to come with her papers, imagine. Wow. And she's like, Edwin, in life, don't like education is there. Please learn as much as you can, but don't know about life, know about what's happening, because she used to show me her papers. Yani she's getting an E. Yeah. E for Edwin, E for Ed, E for Embe, Embe Dodo. And she'd show me, and I'll be like, yeah, by the way, because now me, I'm being a people pleaser. I've learned that at home. When I used to go, let me take you guys back. When I used to go back home, holidays, like, now parents would come for their kids, like Parents' Day. Yeah. The people come on time, people come see you perform and everything. Oh my God. So now me, I would do something. Like, I used to love extracurricular activities. You wait to see your parents there on the stage, like in the crowd audience, and you don't see them. They come at the last minute. So it's just something I just started telling myself. It's okay. It's okay, but it's not okay. So it's now you can see how it's slowly building in my teenage years. Art was my only source of release. Now, the darkest day was around 18th November. Now, we finished school. My mom wasn't, like, she didn't, like, even come enter. So I'm with my dad, and we're going to the office. I remember that time we had bought a newspaper, so we had reached the parking, and me, I used to love reading crosswords and everything. So me, I'm just flipping pages until the last section. Then I reached the obituary section. Oh my God, I saw my mom's face. I actually saw a lady that looked like my mom, and I was like, hey, let me focus. And then I saw my mom's face, written there, Irene Wamboy, Nganga. No, Wainaina, sorry. That shock that shock you usually have when someone's stolen your phone. When you discover you don't have your phone. You just realize someone's been hit in front of you. So that's me now. I can't even process things. I'm telling you, that day, at that time, I felt nothing. Even if you could even I would want to feel like sorrow on it. I felt nothing. I was still like, this is not true. Maybe this is a clone. This is, and I show my dad, like, Dad, look at the newspaper. And I remember even looking at him, and we're in the car. He looks at it, and he didn't show any sign of emotion. He acted like he knew, like, and I was just there like, Dad, this is Mom, as in this is reality. And my dad, he's just there like, he doesn't know how to express his emotion. So, and I was just there like, oh, okay. Now, to make things worse, my bro didn't even know. My big bro didn't know. He was in UK. And, burials usually take 1 week to figure out 1 to 2 weeks, right? My bro is being called from UK. And remember, that's November, December period times. And he's thinking he's coming for Christmas. Kumbe, like when he came, like I remember even my stepmom telling him, Ebu, get ready. Tomorrow there's a funeral. Imagine just like that. As in, there's not even being told, like when you're in UK, so you can prepare yourself emotionally. That's one experience that changed my life completely. Like, I was such a happy-go-lucky child. Like, I was so confident, like I used to be out there and everything. Until that day, I just decided, you know what? I shut out. I shut the world. I decided, hey, you know what? This world, it's me and myself. Because now people have just, my dad has just fucked me up. My mom has fucked me up. My shosho, no one told me and anything. No one's telling me stuff. And this is someone who I loved like number one. This was the number one person in my life, and just gone like that. And from there, I think it started building now issues in my life, like, now mental health issues. Now the day for the burial, wow, it was so heavy. Like, my dad told us that he go with your shosho, me I can't come. I was like, why, Dad? As in, surely. You're like, okay, you know what? There's no time to argue. Man, my bro is there just trying to comfort me that day. And because also my bro, it didn't hit him that much because, he never had contact with my mom. He was in UK. But also him was sad. He really loved, my mom used to talk a lot with my bro. Like when I'm visiting her, like, okay, I miss your brother. I miss him. I'm like, one day God will put us back together and everything. It didn't happen. And I never lost faith in God. I was like, okay, it did happen. So life moves on. And so that day for the burial, my dad says, go with your shosho from his side. There's something about dad's sides and they're like the relatives. There's always, I don't know if it's, they had a whole committee and they're like, you guys will be the most rowdy side, So my shosho my dad's side is, she has no filter. She doesn't care. So during that day, I remember I'm crying after viewing my mom's body, knowing that I'll never see her again. My shosho comes to me, imagine. I'll never forget what she said. She said in Kikuyu, why are you crying? And you're a man. These things happen, Yeah. Have you ever felt like you want to slap someone, but you remember the ancestors, like you can lose your hand or your talent because, this is an elder. I walked away. I was like, I'll see you in the house. So we buried my mom. That time when people are praying, I remember telling myself, I will forever be in debt to moms, like promise. She told me like before, like she said, like, Aki Edwin, whatever you're going with your life, make sure your art is taking you, Make sure you're sticking true to yourself in your art and take care of your big brother. Always have love in yourself, in your heart. I know this. I feel like sometimes this is hell on earth. And she's like, you know what? I've missed your birthdays. I've missed your happy Easters and stuff. I went growing life not seeing these things. So that's why even like Valentine's and stuff, like these big events to me, they don't hit me as much because I was like, wow, I didn't experience them. So I was like, but now I'm my own man. Now I try and create my own path. Life went. Now this is class 8. Everyone really thought I was going to fail, like nothing. And class 8, I decided, you know what? Me, I don't want to fuck around with friends. Let me do me. Let me do my art. I still continue doing art. I still continued expressing what I can't let out by words, I let out through art. Class 8 came, I passed, I did well. And I went to high school. That moment from seeing the news, I think that day, 2311, my bro put it on his hand. And I want to also put it, those words. It's like 11:11 in my head, the time. So I usually sometimes I connect things in my head. And I'm like, maybe this would have happened for this to happen. So now it comes now to, until today, I've forgiven my dad. But there's still many thoughts that come to my head. Why would he keep stories like this? Scenarios like this from us, Why is he keeping it to himself, like thinking like we can't handle it, why can't we have until today? Imagine we've never had the conversation about how mom passed and everything. And it's that one where I'll bring it up and you'll be like, for what? Why do you want to talk about it? Just like, closure. Closure is one thing I wish I had with my family, and it bothers me sometimes. But then I just tell myself it'll get better. That's why nowadays I usually I like that thing when people started saying men are trash. That's when now my mindset goes to like how my dad usually just kept stuff to himself, how he tortured my mom. Until today, it's really painful, but I forgave him, and I was like, let me move on. And I journal. Whenever I have those dark thoughts, I usually just journal. And I tell myself, it gets better. That ordeal, the way it changed me, I entered into now like, depression and anxiety. During high school phase and university phase, I started keeping to myself, like, because I used to be that kid, like, that artist kid that's so talented, but he's all his life, he's just been told you're not good enough, or you've never been praised because of, like, that normal praise, not that you go seek out. So you just end up feeling like, maybe you just end up keeping to yourself. And I became such a closed-off person. And but high school, what helped me was extracurricular activities. It was very interesting. I joined the drama club. There are cards my mom used to write me, right? And they used to, it's like she foresaw the future in which is weird. As in, she used to write, she like, Ed, I know you in phases. You love minding your own business, but once you know someone, you get to listen. You love listening to people, That's when now probably Edwinana started, and without me knowing. So I used to like listen to Form 4's struggles in class. I'd be like, okay. So now maybe the reason you're doing, I used to have no filter. And I didn't, and like, yeah, it's like, okay, because being told the truth and you feel okay. Yeah. So I was in rugby and drama class. Now drama, Form 2. Now this is Form 2. I was in the choral. This was so I did 2 years of drama. So it was actually fun. I used to shout. It was actually like a really good place to talk to. Oh, it made me become also spiritual. I used to like now pray and everything, like feel everything's okay. And our drama teacher, shout out to him. He was called Mr. CJ. So my shosho now used to come to high school to see how I'm doing. And like now she took the position of my mom. Yeah. So I felt like I'd not really lost my mom that much. Yeah. And so she used to come, shout at me, why are you looking so unkempt even when you go to these schools? Who will like you? Which lady will like you? Oh, like, okay, cool. Now I feel like my mom is still there. So I used to tell her I'm doing chorals. Choral ni nini. Hiya, and the way they will shout too, I help you win. Yeah. But what drama taught me is to work hard. We used to rehearse at like 3 a.m., right? Wow. So the way this changed me is like I went, from one, I was really feeling depressed and anxious and not willing to talk to people. But that cycle changed my life. I also started, I used to also paint for guys, like, love letters. So I used to be that guy. I used to exchange. I do for you. You either, Form 4s, you either protect me. I was in Form 1. That's when I started knowing, kumbe, now my craft can. So I started now experiencing life alone. And I knew in my body I am definitely independent. During now Parents' Day, like when they come see your results and everything, my dad used to still have that tendency of coming like at CG when almost all the teachers are going. So me, I just used to go to the teachers also solo, imagine, and just talk to them. Like I tell them imagine I used to speak like an adult now. I'm like, because I understand situation. I'm like, hi, Mr. Nani, my dad will be late, but when it comes, is there a way you can still stay a bit? Because I used to focus on the subjects I'm doing poorly in. Physics, number 1, maths. Let's say like 3 teachers, you talk to them and you tell them the situation and they used to understand. They're human just like you. And that's when now I started learning, hey, Maisha, myself, I don't know how the lyrics go. After finishing KCSE, we passed. In my today life, I say my art is my saving grace. Without art, I don't know where I would have been. I don't know. There are so many people who go through a lot and they don't know how to communicate. So they use music, dance, poems. So now for me was art. It was my saving grace in such a way. Now I also used to speak for other people. Like I would meet up with friends or in a group, or we just hear Siju so-and-so entered depression. So I started doing paintings and people would ask, what's this? I'm seeing an eye next to a flower. What's this? Let me tell you, So it became my way of also now opening up. Art has taken me to places where I never thought I would go. After finishing high school, I got my first graphic tablet. I remember I wanted that thing for so long. I even think, you see now why I loved my father was because he used to provide for us financially, but not emotionally. And I understood that. So he provided me the graphic tablet, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I've provided you with a fishing rod. Now you go fish." Me, now I just started drawing every day. I used to, before exposure was a thing, and Ama before it was exposed. I remember my first drawing was of Amina Amaru. Shout out, because I remember her reposting. It was her in lingerie, lingerie. Instagram during 2013, 2014 times was pure. As in, there was no sponsorships, there was no influencing. It was just you post your picture, 1,000 hashtags, and you go. There was no that feeling of I'm anxious, So I posted that one for Amina Maru, and she commented, "Oh my God, I fucking love this," And a comment like that. It was like, okay, I feel nice. I feel like I've made someone feel good. She reposted it. Yeah. Now here's a weird psychological bit. Here's the strategy bit. People started seeing it. They're like, oof, digital art. What is this? Yeah. Why does it look so clear? And why can I see her ass in like it's shiny? So I started building upon that. Then my second crush was Nani, Sharon Mundia. I remember doing like fashion illustrations for her. She'd hit me up in the email like, "Hey, I love your work." And I'm like, this is a big person talking to me. And I'm like, wow, okay. Next pass, I remember this song. You remember when we all went cuckoos for Sauti Sol? Surayako. Yeah. They even held a competition. Yeah. I was like, okay, cool. They're holding a competition. Let me do something. Surayako, artwork, nini. They reposted. So my following kept growing, and I was like, okay. People also they started asking for personal commissions. Pole, my name was growing. Okay, cool. And that's the time. I'll tell you, blessings come without you knowing. And I picked up on it. I was like, okay, people really fucks with what I'm doing. So I built it. Who else did I draw? Adele. Oh, shout out. I look at my past artworks, I'm like, God, what drugs were you using? But, we all come up from somewhere. And my first gig that I landed that was so big, and I'll even say how much I earned. Yeah. It was Blaze. I think Blaze had money to throw. They're like, you know what, we need youngings, and we need youngings in each sector, sports, music, what. And they picked me for what? It was 100,000. And when you're at home, you're being told by your rents, and that's you're being told by your rents that art doesn't pay. Yeah. That stereotype, art doesn't pay. So Blaze came through. I started meeting bigwigs. I remember I'm in an office where I'm the youngest, and I'm there with Mutuma Theka. I'm there, Nick Mutuma. I remember, because, I can remember places. My big bro was also there. So for most of you who don't know who my big brother is George Kimani. My big bro is a Viner, y'all see, guys, with Seth Gore, and shout out to you, Kim. So I'm in a room with Mutuma Theka, Nick Mutuma, Brenda, who else? Kim. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm heading somewhere in life. Yeah. And this came at the right time. This one I told my parents, guys, we out. I'm moving out. And that was my own decision. And my parents supported it. They're like, yeah, you're a man. You need to start life for yourself. So I moved out when I was in first year of uni. That time you're in a bedsitter and you're like, God, okay, sir. I never used to listen to this how a celeb should look like, or nini ati, God, you will suffer. You're looking on the gram like this, but you're in a bed sitter. And my second biggest gig was now Land Rover. I used to earn from portraits and campaigns. So I remember it was a Sunday night. I was there enjoying a Kataska. Then I see an email. Hi, Edwin. I work for Spark 44 and we'd love you to be on a campaign with Land Rover. I wiped my eyes, like maybe this is a spam account, and my friend was foolish. Yeah. I'm like, guy, this Land Rover. Yani Ed, from Matatu to Land Rover. Yeah. I waited for them first to confirm, send the contract. Yeah. I sign it. And one thing the agency was in South Africa. Yeah. One thing I love about them, those guys, they don't toy with your money. Yeah. The contract they gave me, I knew it was legit. They were like, okay, we need your bank account details, and this is what you'll be doing. I'm like, even if I have to wash the car for the ad, I'll be there. They sent me 50% deposit. And like when we come and we shoot, and then, do you know what they told me? We want you to draw the Land Rover in such a dope style. By the way, you guys, the videos on YouTube, if you guys would want to go, so just type Edwinaina Land Rover Evogue. After Kenya saw I worked with Land Rover, that was a big deal. And now Tusker comes, other campaigns come, and that's where I saw you can manifest, you can create your own path if you just decide, you know what, let me remove all these negative issues from my life. So I started trusting in the process, believing in the now, live in the moment but think ahead. So I was like, let me think now. That's now how I manifest nowadays. I think of what I want or where I want to be. I picture myself there, what I'm eating. I feel the scenario. I smell, I see who I'm greeting. I see what I'm wearing. Then I feel it, Then after that, I just let it go. I put it at the back of my mind and continue my day. If I was watching TV, I continue. And one thing I tend to see humans do is they want something, and if it doesn't come like within the next 2 weeks or months, they start losing hope and they start actually like, hey, God, now you see time has its own time. And that's actually on my bio. Time has its own time.
Catch our next African stories in the next episode.
So just a heads up, I do not know why on a Sunday evening there are repairs being done on my roof. So if you hear any random thuds, I swear I've not fallen. Maybe the workers have fallen, but it is not me. Back to Ed. If you check the description for this episode, I've put a link to the Land Rover campaign he was talking about. I've also put a link to his Instagram and his Twitter so you can check out how dope his art is. And I'm so thankful for him being so vulnerable with us on this episode. But another thing I'm so happy about is that Legally Clueless turns 1 year old on the 18th of March. That is 3 days from now. Yeah, I had to count. Anyway, and yes, we were meant to be celebrating at the storytelling party, but I've had to postpone that because of the government directive to suspend all public gatherings, events, blah, 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 for 30 days because of the corona situation. But that doesn't stop me from feeling so proud of myself for having this podcast running every week for the past year. It feels so good. So good. I just want to say thank you. It's like I've won an Oscar. I just want to thank, no, but seriously though, I do want to thank you who listens every week. Like, I see your tags on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on the podcast WhatsApp number. I'm just so thankful that you listen to this podcast. You had that third. I also want to thank everybody who has ever shared their story on the podcast, be it the storytellers that I have recorded so far, or you who have sent your audio notes via the WhatsApp number. Thank you. Thank you for interacting with the podcast and being part of it. I want to thank everyone in my support system who helped me bring in my equipment, who's been there for me emotionally, because it has been an emotional roller coaster. You know, when you decide to do something that you truly, fully believe in, you have all of these fears, and it just helps to have people to talk to about it and people who will encourage me to keep going. Actually, that's how the podcast started, because I finished making my home office stroke studio. I was just so overwhelmed because I didn't know what it is I was attempting to do. And I called a friend of mine. I cried. I cried during that phone call. And he told me what I'm feeling I should put into a podcast. And that's how episode 1 started. I really should credit him more for this podcast, but I just will say thank you. We're on such an amazing trajectory. Not only are we a space where as human beings and as Africans, we can come together and just connect through our stories, whether it's learning from somebody, crying with somebody, feeling like you're not alone after you listen to somebody's stories or the stuff that I share. But also now we have the Legally Clueless residency, which is a 3-month weekly workshop at USIU Africa, which is a university here in Nairobi. And I did the first workshop last week, teaching students how I set up my podcast. And now we're going to be working on Legally Clueless episodes, well, their version of it, and they'll be putting that on their campus radio station, right? So it's almost like I'm a lecturer, but a really cool one. So there's that, and very soon, I don't want to jinx it, there's another fun aspects to Legally Clueless that's coming up that I really think is going to change how Africans consume audio content. So in 1 year, I've grown something so beautiful, and it's not conceited of me or whatever other English word of me to celebrate myself. I think that's something we all need to do more of. So even this week, I intend to take it really slow, not only because many things have been cancelled. So I have no choice but to take it slow. But I'm going to take it slow. I might treat myself on Wednesday just to say, high five, Adele. Like, you've really done something. And maybe that can help you understand that you need to celebrate yourself more. The things that you think are small wins are wins nonetheless. So feel free on Wednesday as a Legally Clueless listener as we turn 1 year old to spoil yourself. Make it your cheat day. Do something nice for yourself, because that's what I'm going to be doing. But yay, happy birthday to us. And that's it for this episode of Legally Clueless. You can share this podcast with your friends. You can keep it for yourself. I'm not judging. Just make sure you're here next week for the next episode.